Hello everybody, welcome back to My Slice of Heaven Outdoors. I'm Joey. And as you may have guessed by the title, today we are going to be stratifying some chestnut seeds. So you may be asking yourself, how do you stratify chestnut seeds? Well, stick around, come along, and I'll show you how I'm going to do it. Well, if you're still here, I'm guessing you want to learn how to stratify some chestnuts. What stratifying is the chestnuts just need to go through a period of coldness, preferably like close to freezing but not freezing. So we're going to put this all together, keep it in the fridge for a few months, and at the end of a few months we should have chestnuts that have started sprouting. Now there are a couple ways you can do this and a couple mediums you can use inside your containers, but we'll talk about that in a minute. You're going to need three things to get started. You're going to need chestnuts. These are pretty nice sized chestnuts. I don't know, I hope you can see that. You're going to need a container. And you're going to need some damp peat moss, which is what I'm going to use in this container here. The first thing we want to do is I just bought these containers here from Home Depot, and we're going to give them a good washing. So let's go in the kitchen and wash these containers off. Alright guys, I'm just going to wash these containers. Just a little bit of dishwashing liquid and some warm water. Just want to give these a good cleaning before you put your seeds in them, because you want to give your seeds the best chance that they can have to take off. While these are stratifying in the refrigerator, sometimes they will get mold on them. And bacteria causes the mold. So I just want to make sure these containers are clean. So we'll give the nuts the best chances possible. Now if you're using the same container year after year, you definitely want to wash these out after every use. Because if some of your nuts got mold on them from the previous year, you want to make sure you clean out your container to hopefully prevent it from happening next season. Well, from everything that I've been reading and watching on YouTube, it's inevitable that you are going to get some nuts with some degree of mold on them. In which case you would just pick those out and discard those if they're no good. Alright guys, those are washed. And I'm just going to set them on the stove and let those air dry. For some reason we had an audio technical difficulty. So I'm going to try my best to walk you through what is happening. Right now I'm talking about the peat moss I'm using and how you want to get it damp. You do not want it to be able to wring out any water. You basically just want to be able to squeeze it, hold it itself, hold its shape, and then as soon as you touch it, it kind of falls apart. And as you're adding water, you will notice it'll take a lot of water to make this peat moss damp. But just don't overwater it. That is the most critical thing. Next, what you want to do is I'm putting about 4 inches of peat moss in the bottom of my container. And there are many ways you can do this. I could have used smaller containers. But my thinking is for this year, I am going to give the seed nuts plenty of room to grow their roots. Hoping to leave them in the container longer is what I'm trying to do. If I would have used shallower containers, I would have had to constantly check the seed nuts, and as soon as they started sprouting, I would have needed to take them out of the container, transplant them into a larger container, and put them under some sort of grow light. With this container, I'm hoping to have plenty of room that I can just leave them in there until early spring, or at least late winter. There's also talks about many different kind of containers you can use it in. Some people say to aerate the container. Some people say not to aerate container, which just simply means put air holes in it. I have decided not to put air holes in my containers, and we will see how that works. Also, I have seen many people talk about you can just do this in gallon Ziploc bags. Put you some peat moss in there, put you a bunch of nuts in the peat moss, zip it shut, put it in your crisper drawer for a few months, and just take it out and check it and see how it did then. They will sprout in the bag. Here are the chestnuts I'm using. These are Dunstan Chestnuts from Chestnut Ridge of Pike County. I am showing you how there is a flat side to the nut and a humped side to the nut. The flat side must go down. This is the natural way that a nut would fall on the ground, a natural way for them to start sprouting, because this just ensures you that the root will start going down into the soil, not curving up. Now, if you don't know, a chestnut comes in a burr which usually holds 3 nuts, so you have 2 ends and a middle. The middle nut is usually kind of flat on both sides, and here's a picture of that. But if you look at the point, most of the time the point has a little curve down. So just make sure that when you start to plant your chestnut seeds that you plant them with that little point pointing down. That way that will ensure that the root starts going down into the ground. Okay, I have 1 layer done. I have 20 nuts in a layer. And now we will cover this with about 2 inches of the damp peat moss. Once we get this covered with the 2 inches of damp peat moss, we will start another layer. And remember, when doing this, you do not want the nuts to touch the sides of the container, so keep them about 1 inch or 2 away from the edges. I could have fit a lot more nuts per layer, but again, I am trying to maximize my time in the refrigerator, I guess you would say, so that I don't have to take them out, put them in other containers so soon. Again, guys, this peat moss takes a lot of water to get it wet, but you do not want it wringing wet. You just want it damp enough to hold a shape, but kind of still dry. first one is complete. So let's move on to the next one. Again, these are Dunstan nuts from Dunstan Chestnuts. Dunstan Chestnuts is a cross between the Castanea donata and the Castanea mollissima. The Castanea donata, which is the American chestnut, and the Castanea mollissima, which is a Chinese chestnut. They crossed these in an effort to bring back the American chestnut, which has pretty much become extinct due to a fungal disease called blight. The American chestnut used to be one of the most widely growing chestnuts in Northeast America. And like I said, they were practically wiped out, became extinct from the disease, the blight. The Castanea mollissima, which from here on out we'll just call the Chinese chestnut, has an immunity or built-up resistance to the blight. So a lot of the chestnuts you see growing now are some form of Chinese chestnut, whether a hybrid, full Chinese, or a cross. So in an effort to try and save the American chestnut, they started making hybrids, crosses between Chinese chestnuts and American chestnuts. And like I said, the Dunstan is a cross between the American chestnut and the Chinese chestnut, and that's the information I gathered from the web page where I bought these seed nuts, which is Chestnut Ridge of Pike County. And let's top up some more. Thanks for sticking around. I just want to forewarn you guys, I'm no expert at this. This is actually my first time doing this, but I've read a lot of information about it. After we get this container full, we'll cover it up with more peat moss. And then we will store them in the refrigerator. And we will check on them about every 2 weeks. And when I say check on, we just want to look in there and make sure there's no mold growing on any of the nuts. If there is, we need to pull them out. We're not going to go crazy and dig them all up. We're just going to scoop some soil off to the side. If we don't see any signs of mold, we'll just go ahead and cover them back up and put them back in there for another 2 weeks. Well, that's it for today. I hope you gained a little bit of information from this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. Hit that like button, and if you're not already a subscriber, and want to follow along with this stratifying process for chestnuts, hit the subscribe button, hit that bell notification, and you'll be reminded every time I put out a new video. So come back again in about 2 weeks and we'll check on one of these containers. If everything seems alright, we'll just switch the container, rotate them top to bottom, and in 2 weeks after that we'll check the other container. Thanks for watching, everybody, and I hope you have a great day.